excited to have another opportunity this week, coming off obviously a very disappointing performance this past week. Got another tough challenge. Going to be on the road here for the next couple weeks. Another really good football team. Very similar to the team we just played in so many ways. They've got 4 losses by a total of 21 points. So they're and I think they've had the lead in every single one of those games. So it's a really tough team to beat. Really talented across the board. Probably one of the most experienced teams in the country in all of college football coming into the season. Had everybody back on offense, and had a couple of their starters out last week. Expect both of those guys probably to be back this week. But this is, again, a team that's, 4 plays from being undefeated. I mean, they're very similar to the group we just played, and very similar in style. They line up one of the best rushing teams in the country. These guys can really run the football. So obviously, with how we played last week, that's going to be an area we've got to have get back on track and have great improvement this week to have a chance to win the game. It's disappointing when you're in control of your destiny, and then all of a sudden you're not. So we don't control our destiny anymore. But you know what we do control? Our decision, what we do today. We still control our effort, our accountability, our attitude, our work ethic. We control how we respond. We control all that. We don't control. We can't. We could go win all of our games, and we may not get to Charlotte. We don't control that. But hey, you got to go play the next game. That's why they call it a season. You play a season every single year. You try to have the very best season that you can have. And in totality, in our time here, we've had a lot of really, really good seasons. And some seasons we've won the championship more than most. National championships and league championships. It's hard to do. You try to coach and teach. I think it's important. There's always a lesson, and honestly, you really only lose if you lose the lesson. Like, there's always a lesson. These are kids. These are 18 to 22-year-old young people that are having to that work their butts off, and they're having to deal with disappointment, and and failure, and especially in this arena. We always. In this arena, it's a little different, just because it's so public, and there's just it's almost a sport to criticize and attack and things. It's like a sport of its own. Who can be the best attacker? Who can be the best criticizer? Who can be the best, whatever. That's the world we live in, and so it's an opportunity you got to challenge, you teach, you encourage, and it's, again, you grow. You pick yourself up and you keep going. I always say, tough people win in the end. Life is hard. Tough people win in the end, and the only reason they win is because they keep going. You keep going. The only time you lose is when you just give up and you stop. So, yeah, we lost a football game. That's football. It's hard. College football is hard and going to get harder. There's going to be very few undefeated teams as you move forward. And I think that whole perception will probably slowly change a little bit, a lot like you have in the NFL now. Because the parity is going to be even more and more. But, we did not deserve to win that game last week. We didn't deserve to win. And you got to do what it takes. We didn't do what it takes. You can't change what it takes. I always say, greatness don't go on sale. You can't get it, down at the Dollar General for less than what it costs. You have to pay full price every single week, and especially when you're at a place like Clemson, you're going to get everybody's best shot. And we've got a lot of really talented players, and some of them are more mature than others, and some are really, really mature and they get it, and others they don't. And sometimes you just have to learn through some setbacks. But there's always setbacks. But that's why you got to be resilient. People who win are resilient. People who ultimately succeed in life are resilient, and they have a desire to keep on keeping on. That's what resiliency is. It's overcoming setbacks and obstacles and disappointment and failure by a desire to keep on keeping on. That's what resiliency is. So you got to be resilient, and you get a chance to teach that. You'd much rather teach the other stuff, because it's more fun when you win. But the reality is we're 5-1 in our league. There's 17 teams in this league. We're not out of it. We don't control the destiny, but we control our decision on how we're going to respond, how we're going to practice, what we're going to do about it this week. That's what we do control. So let's focus on what we control, block out the rest of it, and get back to work. We're going to have to be a lot better at doing what it takes to stop the run. To stop the run, you got to set the edge. You got to be gap sound. You got to defeat blocks. You got to be relentless. You got to trigger and fill gaps when you're filling it from second and third level. You got to tackle well. It's not complicated. And so we got to do those little things better. We didn't finish. We had 2 block kicks. We had another scoring drive with the tip, the tip ball opportunity. So we missed. If you make those points, it's different. It's a different deal because they got 10 points off of the 2 block kicks. We had a 4th and 1, that honestly they just got us. We had a motion guy, and they triggered the motion guy right through the gap. And, so you just kind of had to tip your hat to them on that one. Sometimes that can happen in football. But, just didn't. But they kept playing. They competed their butts off, and they finished well. With a couple really good scoring drives, and just didn't do enough throughout 4 quarters. That game's over, guys. Let's move on. We're playing Virginia Tech this week. What do you want to talk about? We got to respond. These guys, this is what they do. They run the football. They can line up and run the ball on anybody, so we got to respond. We got to, again, they're a stretch team with the exception of they will mix in a little bit more midline. They'll mix in a little bit of stretch wham, where they're kind of whamming back with the tight end on your interior. We just got to, again, do what it takes to stop the run. And we talk about those things all the time. And for the most part, we've done a nice job of that. But we did not last week. And, again, that's pretty evident. So just excited to see them respond. And, hopefully they'll play like I know they're capable of playing and not want to experience what they experienced last week and this week in response to the performance. They'll want to get a little better result.